We're here at one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, the Tower of London, a place of kings, queens, ravens, and a history stretching back nearly 1,000 years. Stick around as we explore the legends.
We may never know what happened here.
Meet the famous ravens and take a look at the moving display marking the end of the World Wars.
On the north bank of the River Thames, in the heart of London, stands one of Britain's most enduring landmarks, the Tower of London. These walls have seen coronations, tragedies, and mystery. But what about the animals here? Upon arriving, visitors to the tower would have been greeted with the menagerie that once existed. The first known menagerie residents arrived around the 1200s, when King John received a collection of exotic animals as royal gifts.
The ravens aren't the first ones to live at the tower. There once stood a menagerie just below where I'm standing.
But the menagerie wasn't just entertainment, it was a status symbol. Owning wild beasts showed the monarch's dominion over the world.
It's just bizarre to think that animals used to be walking around in here. Even a polar bear on a chain. A polar bear. Whose idea was that?
It turns out that the polar bear was a gift from the King of Norway to Henry III. Lions were also among the first animals kept at the tower. Edward I even built a dedicated lion tower at the western entrance, so visitors and prisoners had to pass them. In 1255, King Louis IX of France sent Henry III an African elephant. It lived in a specifically built 40 by 20 foot house. Not exactly humane by modern standards.
By the 1830s, the animals were moved to form the foundation of London Zoo over at Regent's Park. Today, you'll see sculptures dotted around the tower, marking where the menagerie once stood. It's said that if the ravens ever leave the tower, the kingdom will fall. What do you think?
Superstition? Maybe. But to this day, at least 6 ravens are kept and carefully cared for by the tower's raven master, on a diet of raw meat and blood-soaked biscuits. They even have their own tiny houses.
They're huge! He's having a bath.
People come from around the world to visit this incredible structure and the tower's ravens, to mixed reviews.
Hey there, buddy!
Inside a raven's skull lies a brain no larger than a walnut, yet it holds around 1.2 billion neurons. Packed tightly together, these neurons form dense networks that let ravens reason, plan, and even imagine future events. They can solve puzzles, use tools, and remember the faces of those who treat them kindly. Or not. In this astonishing brain power that makes ravens among the most intelligent creatures on Earth. Deep within the tower lies a glittering trove of metal and monarchy. This is the Royal Armoury.
We're in the White Tower discovering the Armoury section. Henry VIII stuff is in here as well, and it's just mad. This stuff is hundreds of years old.
It began as a place of war, a working storehouse where weapons were forged, repaired, and readied for battle. But over time, it became something more, a showcase of royal power, and a gallery of craftsmanship unlike any other. Take Henry VIII's tournament armour, custom built and lavishly engraved. It's not just armour, it's a statement of strength, wealth, and probably some vanity. But the armoury wasn't all about kings. The tower's workshops turned out thousands of weapons, longbows, swords, muskets, and cannons, arming English soldiers for centuries. In its heyday, the tower was the beating heart of Britain's military machine. Today, the Armoury stands as the oldest visitor attraction in the world, still drawing crowds after nearly 350 years. Here's a question for you. Who were the last people to be imprisoned in the Tower of London? Put your answer in the comments. Of course, not all the tower's inhabitants were animals. Some were far more tragic. Arguably, one of the tower's most famous mysteries has to be the princes in the tower. In 1483, two young princes, Edward V and his brother Richard, were locked inside the tower by their uncle Richard III.
Richard III was crowned king instead of his nephew. This tower is renamed the Bloody Tower. It will now be confirmed. Right to say Richard III definitely murdered. We may never know what happened to them.
Centuries later, two small skeletons were found buried beneath a staircase. No one can say for certain if they are that of the two princes, but visitors and beefeaters still tell tales of ghostly laughter echoing through the tower, as if the boys are still playing, unaware of their fate. Deep within the tower lies Britain's most dazzling treasure, the crown jewels. Under armed guard day and night, these priceless symbols of monarchy are displayed behind layers of steel and bulletproof glass. The original crown jewels were destroyed in 1649 after the monarchy was abolished. Only two original relics survive from the 12th century, the anointing spoon and the St. Edward's coronation ampulla. Visitors can look, but no cameras are allowed inside the jewel house. Apart from the history, the views, and the stories of torture and legend,
now, in fact, during the reign of Queen Mary Tudor, over 300 men of the church were brought through these gates, where they were then burned at the stake for heresy.
we also came to see one other spectacle, the Poppy Memorial Display marking the end of the World Wars. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Designed by Tom Piper and Paul Cummins, this display runs throughout the grounds of the tower. This year, the Tower of London reinstalled nearly 30,000 ceramic poppies from the iconic 2014 Blood-Swept Lands and Seas of Red display to mark 80 years since World War II's end. The installation, titled "The Tower Remembers," is conceived as a wound in stone. Poppies spill down the side of the ancient white tower, pooling over on the lawn, with ripples extending outward under St. Thomas's Tower. This display connects the past's physical damage with today's memory of sacrifice. Amid the sea of poppies, life quietly exists. Birds and squirrels weave through the memorial, a gentle reminder that even in remembrance, nature endures. From the 6th of May through till Armistice Day, the 11th of November 2025, visitors are invited to walk among the poppies, view the display and reflect on unity, sacrifice, and the lasting legacy of war. If you learnt something from the video, please like and subscribe and share your stories in the comments. The last people imprisoned in the tower were Ronnie and Reggie Cray when they failed to show for their national service. See you again!